let's do one final video update for the day. And the first topic we have to get to, the first story to clear up, well, we have an answer to this story actually. That has to do with the warship, the Moskva warship. Kirby came out from the Pentagon spokesperson and he said that the Pentagon has learned, confirmed that this was indeed some sort of fire that set off some ammunition, and the ship didn't even sink. Everyone has been rescued. The ship has been towed to the port, and that'll be that. So any talk about a missile from Ukraine sinking ships, 2 missiles sinking Russian ships, well, we can just file that under Ghost of Kiev, Snake Island BS, and we'll leave that there. Is it embarrassing for Russia? Yeah, it's embarrassing, but it was an old ship, and an accident or something like an accident. It happened, and that is that. We can't really say much more about it. It's embarrassing, but it is what it is. It doesn't, like I said in the previous videos, it doesn't affect the outcome of the conflict, of the war. The only the negative in all of this is the fact that there's going to be a lot of people in the collective West on social media who are going to believe that Ukraine is sinking ships off of the Odessa coast in much the same way that they believe in the Ghost of Kiev and Snake Island and Zaporozhye nuclear facility and all of these things. Because the social media, it got out there, Ukraine jumped on it, the collective West jumped on it. They put the story out there that Ukraine sent 2 missiles to sink Russian ships, and Russia's losing, and their navy's falling apart, their army's falling apart, and Elensky is the military mastermind. And, this went all over social media. And I saw a lot of blue check marks talking about how the Russian Navy is on the verge of collapse, and Ukraine is just sinking ships like it's a video game or something. And that's what soft media power gives you. It lets you BS a whole hell of a lot. And it means that Russia, they have to try to avoid these types of unforced errors or mistakes. Can you avoid these things during war? Tough to do, but this is, once again, soft media power, and the fact that they can amplify these things via social media. The US, Twitter, Facebook, they're told to amplify these stories and get them even out there, get them more out there, get them trending. While we're on the topic of Twitter, Musk is making an offer for Twitter, 41 billion, probably 41 million is what it's worth, but 41 billion is his offer. That is the final price. He says he's going to offer Twitter. He wants to take it private, and it is about 38% above the stock price of where Twitter was on April 1st, I want to say. Yeah, on April 1st. So he's making a good offer, and he wants to take it private. He says that Twitter has a lot of potential, but not in its current state. I'm not a Musk fanboy at all. An oligarch's an oligarch to me, and maybe Musk is a little different, a different type of oligarch, but he's still an oligarch. But the fact that he wants to take it private, to me, signals that he's serious about it. He wants Twitter to do well, to be a free speech platform, and just to be out of the entire Wall Street advertising, show your results every quarter kind of trap. He wants to take it private and just work on making it a viable, I imagine, a viable, profitable free speech platform outside of the Wall Street advertising powers, outside from their clutches, and probably outside of the Democrat Party and the deep state and all of these things as well. So the fact that he wants to take it public, to me signals that he's serious about making it a free speech platform. I will lean towards that. I'm not saying that's definite, but I'll lean towards that. Get it out of the public hands and move it into private ownership. So that's just my thoughts about it. Will they accept? Who knows? I don't think they'll accept. I don't know what's going to happen. with that. I imagine that Twitter is going to try to fight this offer. The board at Twitter is going to try to fight this offer, and they're going to stay the same cesspool that they have been, and that they want to continue being. So we'll see. We'll see. It's interesting news. It's good news. If it doesn't go through for Musk, then he should seriously consider, creating his own. 41 billion, I think, could build you a pretty impressive Twitter competitor. That's for sure. What else do I want to talk about here? Let's see. Yeah, we have this news that just broke about helicopters crossing over into Russian territory. So the Ministry of Defense of Russia has issued a warning. Yesterday they issued this warning. They said if the Kiev regime, if the Elensky regime continues their attacks on Russian territory, then Russia reserves the right to, Russia will attack Kiev's command and control centers. At least that was the translation that we got, that they were going to take out their command and control centers in Kiev. And a lot of analysts were saying, what the hell's going on? Russia hasn't taken out they know where these command and control centers are for Ukraine, the Ukraine military, or the NATO military that's running Ukraine. They know where they are in Kiev, and they haven't taken these out yet. What's going on? It sounds weird, and I was thinking the same thing. But I just wrapped up a video with Alexander where we talk about this very topic, and Alexander was like, I read this differently, the statement from Russia. I read it as the Russians saying, if Kiev continues to attack Russian territory, if Ukraine continues to attack Belgorod and these cities which are around the border of Ukraine, then we are going to attack the political leaders of Ukraine who are hunkered down in Kiev. And when I went to my Telegram feed, and I saw a Telegram channel from Inessa, I'll put the link down below for Inessa's Telegram channel. She does a really good job of getting excellent translations, Russian to English translations. And she had an interview of Aperovich. He's like I think I may be mangling his name, but he's like the Baghdad Bob of the Elensky regime. He's like the guy that says all the BS. He talks all the lies, and he tries to make it seem like Kiev is demolishing Russia, and all of this nonsense goes to Kiev and all of these things. He is the Baghdad Bob, the propaganda wing, the crazy nutty propaganda wing of the Elensky regime. A regime which is full of actors and directors and script writers. So he's that guy, and he was giving an interview, and he said, if Russia wants to attack the decision-making centers of Kiev, then we're ready for it, and we're going to strike at Russia, and we've got capabilities that Russia hasn't even thought of. I'll put a video so you can kind of read the subtitles from Inessa's translation. But the translation's what caught my eye. While a lot of other people are talking about the Russian Ministry of Defense saying they're going to take out command or control centers, she got this interview with Aperovich. I think it's Aperovich, and she translated it as Russia taking out decision-making centers and decision-making structures, and that's key because that confirms what Alexander's take on all of this was with regards to the statement from the Russian Ministry of Defense, i.e., if Ukraine continues to provoke and to attack Russian territory, like what we've seen in Belgorod, then the Russians are going to hit the political decision makers and those structures in Kiev. Not Zelensky, but all the other guys. And so that is huge because the Ministry of Defense, literally like 2 hours ago, or like an hour ago, they came out with a statement saying that 4 helicopters tried to attack Russian territory, as well as various drones and missiles tried to hit Belgorod. They were intercepted. And so I think this is going to be used as the green light to start taking out some of Elensky's inner circle, perhaps. Definitely some political leaders. If I were them, I would find a different place to sleep tonight. That's all I can say, because what I'm reading into this, given the statements that the Ministry of Defense has just put out in Russia, is, well, you guys attacked Russian territory after our warning, and we are going to start striking at your political leadership located in Kiev. That's huge news. Let's see if that's what happens. That is big, big news if that does occur. And it's going to weaken Elensky. It's going to scare the hell out of Elensky if he's in Kiev. I think Elensky comes and goes. I think he comes and goes between Poland and Kiev. But either way, big news. It means that Russia is ramping things up. That's for sure. And the final story I want to talk about is Canada and Trudeau. And for this, I'm going to pull up some information with this story. And it has to do with a story that I did a couple of days ago where I talked about how this Radio Canada exposed some photographs of Canadian military training Azov NAZIs. And I was calling out the hypocrisy of the Trudeau government, the Freeland Trudeau government, and how they were branding and labeling millions of Canadians as NAZIs during the trucker freedom convoy protests because they spotted an NAZI flag during those protests. And Trudeau was getting up in front of Parliament and saying that these people are NAZIs and it's despicable and it's disgusting. And how could we have NAZIs in Canadian society or protesting with these truckers? And the Trudeau government made a huge deal out of this. I mean, a massive deal out of this. The media made a huge deal out of this. The Canadian media, the Western mainstream media. I mean, they ran with this story about the Freedom Convoy is far right and they're full of NAZIs and all of this stuff because of one flag at the protest, allegedly because of one flag at the protest. And even that was a little sketchy as to what that was all about. But we have this story now from Radio Canada. I believe it's Radio Canada. Yes, Radio Canada. And they came out with pictures with the receipts of the Canadian military training the real deal NAZIs. I mean, not even Neo. These guys are the real deal. And everyone is silent. It seems, why is that? The Trudeau government has been busted. The Freeland government busted training NAZIs. Okay, Freeland, we know where her sympathies lie. I mean, we know her history. And there are a lot of photos of her attending events and parades with red and black flags and scarves. We all know what those symbols mean. But man, this is a huge, huge scandal. I don't know why no one's jumping on this, the opposition parties, any of them. But here's what we have, the latest on this. And this is damning, what I'm going to read you. The director of the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Israel, Wiesenthal Center in Israel, has condemned Canadian troops for training neo-NAZI fighters in Ukraine, saying it was Ottawa's responsibility to make sure such things did not happen. The Canadian military, however, has denied any obligation to vet the training recipients. So they're not saying they didn't train them. They just say they don't have an obligation to vet them. My God, if you're not vetting these militaries while you're training them, what the hell are you doing? Mike, I shouldn't say these words. I'm actually in front of a church. What are you doing if you're not vetting these guys? Here's a quote from the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Israel, and this is coming from Efren Zurov, who told the Ottawa Citizen on Wednesday, and he's one of the, I think he's a director at this center. He said, quote, "The Canadian government didn't do its due diligence." Oh yeah, they didn't do their due diligence. Quote, "It's the responsibility of the Canadian Defense Ministry to know exactly who they are training. There is no question that there are neo-NAZIs in different forms in Ukraine. No question," he says, "whether they are in the Azov Regiment or other organizations." Wow. Wow. I mean, he just crushes the Trudeau government. And their answer is, we don't have a responsibility to vet these people. You heard it from this guy right now, his quote. You heard it. It's his name, Zurov. Efrem Zurov said, you should be vetting the military that you're training to make sure there are no NAZIs, especially in Ukraine, which has a history of these Bandera NAZIs. This looks so bad for Trudeau. I wonder if anyone is going to jump on this in the opposition, or the mainstream media for that matter. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. theduran.locals.com. And I'll leave it there. I'll make this one a relatively short one. Take care.